Your bank account in danger of being seized. That's not just a clickbait title. It's a warning, grounded in historical fact and the undeniable nature of government. You probably think your money, the money you've worked hard for, the money sitting in your bank account, is safe. You probably think it's yours. But what if I told you there's a precedent? A chilling example of a Western government reaching directly into the private bank accounts of its citizens and taking a cut. And what if I told you it's not a matter of if it will happen again, but when, and likely on a much larger scale? Let's rewind to the summer of 1992. Italy. The government, led by Giuliano Amato, faced a fiscal crisis. A crisis, as always, of its own making. Their solution? Decree number 333. Article 7 of this decree authorized an extraordinary one-off tax, a polite term for state-sanctioned plunder. They levied 0.6% on the value of all Italian bank accounts, bank and postal deposits, savings accounts, and certificates of deposit. Overnight, without warning, a portion of every Italian's savings was gone, siphoned off by the state to supposedly decrease public debt and meet the demands of the Maastricht Treaty. Don't let the seemingly small figure of 0.6% fool you. The amount is secondary to the principle. If the state can declare a right to 0.6% of your savings today, what stops them from claiming 1%, 5%, 10%, or even 50% tomorrow when a bigger crisis inevitably hits? Absolutely nothing. Once that line is crossed, once the sanctity of private property in your bank account is violated, it's merely a question of political calculation how much they'll take next time. This wasn't an income tax on what you earn or a sales tax on what you spend. This was a direct confiscation of wealth already accumulated, already taxed, already saved. It was a penalty on prudence, a disincentive to building a future. The state, you see, produces nothing. It is a parasitic entity that lives by coercion. When its appetite for spending outstrips its ability to tax through conventional means, or when its political masters demand tribute, it will always look for the easiest, most direct way to get its hands on more loot. And what's easier than tapping directly into the aggregated savings of its citizenry? The Italian levy was a test case, a trial balloon. And it worked. The state got away with it. The psychological barrier was broken. The unthinkable became thinkable, and then doable. Fast forward to 2013. Cyprus. This time it wasn't a mere 0.6%. To rescue the banks, institutions often coddled and protected by the state itself, depositors faced direct confiscation of their funds. Uninsured deposits in one major bank were hit with losses approaching 50%. They called it a bail-in, a clever term to make it sound like depositors were part of a solution, rather than victims of outright theft to cover the failures of a corrupt system. This is the Italian job on a much grander scale, and it's now enshrined in banking regulations across the globe, including the US and Europe. Do you see the pattern? First income taxes, then endless indirect taxes, then the emergency levies on savings like Italy, then formalized bail-ins like Cyprus. What's next? As government debts soar to unimaginable heights, as unfunded welfare promises come due, the pressure for more direct wealth confiscation will become irresistible. They'll call it a wealth tax or social solidarity levy or some other deceptive euphemism. But it will be theft, pure and simple. They'll tell you it's only for the rich. But the definition of rich is a constantly shifting goalpost, always moving downwards to ensnare more and more of the population as the state's hunger grows. They'll tell you safeguards are in place. But the only true safeguard is a government strictly limited in its power to take your property, a condition that simply doesn't exist in the modern world. The Italian job of 1992 was a clear warning. Your bank account, held within the jurisdiction of a government desperate for funds, is not a safe haven. It is a readily accessible pool of capital that the state views as its reserve fund for the next manufactured crisis. So, what can you, the individual who simply wants to protect what you've earned, actually do? The answer lies in understanding a fundamental truth. A government's power is primarily confined by its borders. While they can make life difficult, it is far harder for your home government to directly seize assets that are legally held outside of its immediate control. This is why, if you have any meaningful assets, you absolutely must consider diversifying internationally. This means establishing bank accounts in reputable financial jurisdictions outside of your home country. It means considering the ownership of physical assets, like gold, stored securely in vaults in politically stable nations that respect property rights, nations different from your own. Holding all your assets under the thumb of a single government is like putting all your eggs in one very fragile, very predatory basket. When that government decides it needs your money, and history shows it eventually will, you'll have few, if any, options. International diversification isn't just for the super wealthy. It's a prudent strategy for anyone who values their financial independence and wants to shield their hard-earned capital from arbitrary confiscation. The Italian levy, the Cypriot bail-ins, these are not anomalies. They are previews of what's to come as fiscally irresponsible governments grow more desperate. The time to act is now, before the next emergency is declared, before capital controls are tightened, before your accounts are frozen or levied. Protect yourself. Look beyond your borders. Because the danger to your bank account is real, and the precedent for seizure has already been set. Don't wait until it's your savings on the line. If you want to reduce your taxes to single digits, make your assets impossible for anyone to touch, and gain more freedom with second citizenships, get in touch with Liberty Mundo and book a consultation call. We will help you develop a complete blueprint to organize your life to safeguard your wealth and your freedom. Follow the link in the description for more details. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.